Given the choice, I would rather carry a Swiss Army knife with me any day over any of these kind of little keychain dooberies. I've argued in the past that these are pretty irrelevant if you can carry something like a Swiss Army knife. But if you're travelling by air and want to have some kind of little tool with you, a Swiss Army knife is not going to be an option. From what I've heard, even something like the Victorinox Jet Setter, which doesn't have a blade, just a tiny pair of scissors, I've been hearing that even these are getting confiscated. If you're not taking checked baggage, just hand luggage, or if you're going into schools, museums, concert venues, courthouses, different things like that, again, you're not going to be allowed to carry a blade. So here we'll be just briefly looking at the Gerber Mullet, Kershaw PT1, Keysmart Multitool, the Nite Ize Doohickey Plus, the Gerber Shard, a generic AliExpress titanium alloy crowbar, they call it, Victorinox Quattro Screwdriver, and a trusty old P38 can opener as potentially viable tools for safe air travel or for use in places where knives are not allowed. I did do another video looking at these, but it ran to nearly 30 minutes, so I think that may be a bit long for most people to endure, so here's just a shorter version of that kind of thing, really. So I've done quite a lot of research over the past few weeks, couple of weeks looking at these, and there's tons and tons of different designs available on AliExpress, Amazon, eBay, Temu, the usual suspects, and a lot of them are ridiculously over the top, really massive, great big chunks of metal. But I wanted something small and discreet, something that potentially will make it past TSA, airport security, and will still allow me to have a few useful tools on it. So I want a couple of screwdrivers, a Phillips and a slotted screwdriver, maybe a bottle opener for if I'm on holiday would be nice to have. Some method of maybe light prizing, poking, prodding, cutting, opening boxes, that kind of thing. I'm not going to be building a shed, I'm not going to be building a survival shelter or doing DIY, so just a few basic little tools. I don't need multiple wrenches, bike spanners, spoke adjusters, things like that. I just want a couple of basic tools just to have something on my person for just in case I need to do any tiny little tasks. That's the nature of EDC, isn't it? Just to have something with you to help you out if you need it. These are all really cheap. I haven't paid more than a tenner for any of these things. They're all light. If I do lose them to security, I'm not going to wet the bed over it because they didn't cost much. So just a brief rundown of which one is my favourite out of these. I think all of these are perfectly viable. Just have something on you. The little P38 can opener, I absolutely love these. They're great as can openers. You can use it as a slotted screwdriver. They do work on an angle for turning some Phillips screws. The metal is quite thin and relatively soft, so these do kind of deform a little bit if you use them too much for screwdrivering. They make quite good box tape cutters, and it's a nice flat bit of metal that you can use for gentle prodding, poking, prying. So that's good, but I think I'm going to rule this one out because I'm suspecting that airport security and stuff will see a little tiny folding blade on there, even though it's really not sharp, and just dispose of that. I do think that's a good option, and I love these. And if you are travelling to a foreign place, you might need a little can opener, so that'd be a good one to stash in your kit. But I'm putting that one lower down on my list because I suspect that I'd get easily flagged by a grumpy airport security man. I'm gonna have a quick look at the Gerber Shard and the Gerber Mullet. I like the idea of these. I think the Gerber Mullet is definitely the better choice out of the two. The Gerber Shard, it's just not as well cut or cast. These kind of work as okay as slotted screwdrivers in a pinch. It's good that both of these have got an angled pry bar. You can get some good leverage on these two. Both got bottle openers, both got Phillips screwdrivers, but this one just is not very good really. It tends to slip quite a bit. The one on the Gerber Mullet is much better cut and makes a very good Phillips screwdriver. Can be a little bit awkward in use because it's not on in an inline format, but yeah, that works well. This one also has a 1/4 inch hex bit driver there, so if you so inclined to carry screwdriver bits with you, you can take whatever you want. Also got an extra sort of kind of flat scraper bit there, could be used as a large slotted screwdriver. That's good. This one also has kind of a pocket belt loop clip on there, so you can hang it off a belt loop. So out of these two, the Gerber Mullet is just better than the Gerber Shard. I'm going to rule the Gerber Shard out but it would be fine if you had nothing, literally nothing else. This one I do like. My only query is that it's quite large. There's a set of keys. If that was dangling on there, it's easily spottable. It's just whether the security are going to say, you're not taking that, mate, or not. I just don't know. Then we got the Kershaw PT1. I just removed the plastic scales from this one. I do like this. It's quite a solid, chunky little bit of metal. Slotted screwdriver on that end, which is just a tiny. I wish it was just thinned out ever such a tiny bit on the end. It does work as a slotted screwdriver, but it's a little bit chunky and you have to apply some pressure to keep that into your screw to twist it. Bottle opener, nice, wide, sturdy pry scraper end on there. That's good. And this corner can be used to turn Phillips screws. It's a little bit awkward, but it does work. So I like that one, but it's not got quite as much utility as some of the others. So that's going a little bit further down my list. And let's have a look at the little Victorinox Quattro Screwdriver. Comes with 2 different sizes of slotted screwdrivers and 2 different sizes of 2D Phillips screwdrivers. But all of these screwdrivers on here are really, really effective. For the size, you're somewhat limited in how much torque you can give to any screws because of the size and shape of this, but it works really well. And these tips make absolutely excellent tape cutters as well. There's no bottle opener built on there. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, that's so small, so unobtrusive, so light. You can get them off eBay and various places like that. One of those would just sit on your keyring nicely and be fairly well camouflaged behind your keys there, so surely that would have a really good chance of getting through airport security and is a handy little gadget just to have on you. Something's better than nothing, right? Take one of them, or you could just take the Swiss card that these come in and remove the knife. And I would say possibly the scissors as well. But yeah, I like that. So that's going to sit up there. Next up is this titanium alloy, in theory. That's what they're calling it anyway. From AliExpress, I think it was less than £4, about £3.80 something I think I paid for this. And it is really sturdy. It's absolutely tiny, which means that in use it's somewhat difficult to get much torque. But this end works fine as a slotted screwdriver. Do wish this was squared off, just a flat piece, but it works fine as a slotted screwdriver. You can do some very light duty prodding, poking, bottle opener. The Phillips screwdriver on this one is really nicely cut and works extremely well. Like I say, it's just somewhat limited by the amount of wang you can give it because of the size and shape. Got a little metric ruler on there, and again this one does have a 1/4" hex bit driver in there. You can slot a driver bit in, use it that way. Quite good, really cheap, really small, really unobtrusive. I do really like this one. If that was on your keys, I think you'd have a very good chance of getting it through security. That would hide away nicely under there. Dirt cheap, strong, bit more difficult to use, but yeah, that's good. I like that one. And this one, this Nite Ize Doohickey Plus, is excellent. I really like this one. I love that it's got a carabiner. The tool itself becomes your carabiner or your key clip. Slotted screwdrivers, little V-notch to use as a nail puller. You've got a slightly angled piece of the metal there. It's great as a package opener, and also a serrated section here, which I've just sharpened a tiny bit, so can be used for cutting bits of string. Helpful as a package opener. You've got a bottle opener there, a little bit rounded, but it does just about work. You've got 3 different sizes of hex wrench in this central section as well for undoing bolts, and could use that as a 1/4" bit driver. Bit awkward to use. I'm not bothered about the wrenches really. It's got a 2" ruler that side and a 4cm ruler that side. That's handy to have. You might as well have it. And then the other thing I really love about this one is got a really nicely cut inline Phillips screwdriver. This is the best Phillips driver out of all of these because of the inline shape. It's really effective and easy to use, and that is excellent. I do just wonder whether airport security will catch a glimpse of this little serrated edge here and say, "No mate, you're not having that," and take that off you. But it was about £7, I think, and it's really good. I love that one. I'm going to stick out a bit more on your keys, so yeah, it's just down to whether the security man or woman is going to have that off you. But that's good, lots of utility in that one, and it's dirt cheap. And then this last one I've only just got, the Keysmart Multitool, and this might be my favourite because it's really small, it's light, it's unobtrusive. Hide that in between your keys there, look. Yeah, that's going to hide away nicely. It's got a little package opener, seatbelt cutter type of tool in there. So again, if they catch sight of that, that might be considered far too an offensive a weapon to be able to take on board an aeroplane or into a concert venue or something. A couple of very tiny measuring sections on there. very good slotted screwdriver on the end there, that works really well, and an excellent Phillips screwdriver on the other end, that works fantastically well. Again, this one is quite small like this one is, but because it's a bit longer, this one's easier to use. You can get more torque on this one than you can on this one. So yeah, be able to cut string, open packages, do some very light prying. This is excellent, this one. So for me, these are fine. These are potentially very useful, and much better than having nothing at all. This is so tiny and light, but still useful, so that's a good one to take. But for me, yeah, these four, genuinely useful, cheap, light, unobtrusive, especially these two, would have a very good chance, or a better chance, of going through security, I think, than these two, which are just a bit bigger and a bit more obvious. So you're relying on the charity, the mercy of airport security with these two. But yeah, they've all got a number of functions, and I would rather have any one of these than just nothing at all. So what do you guys think? I want to hear your experiences. If you've got any other suggestions of good one-piece multi-tools, how have you got on through security? And do you think these are useful, or would you just take nothing at all, not bother, it's not worth the risk? I'm not going to cry too much if I lose any one of these, but I'll feel better in myself. It's a kind of a guy who's into EDC stuff, having something on me rather than nothing. And I hope that's been interesting to at least someone out there. Thank you. Adios.